The boys are back and they're ready to break down some of the action from a wild week 7 around the NFL and look ahead to week 8. You're listening to the Purple Huddle podcast with Kevin and Durp. I'm Brandon. Let's get into the 2-minute offense. Kevin, how you feeling after a divisional win against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday?
Man, I'm loving the fact that they win, but boy, does it feel like a loss. I
Yeah.
mean, they played well enough to win, and don't get me wrong, I'm very happy about that. But the fact that it took a missed field goal and a fumble, and I thought for sure it was going to be business as usual. Then we're blowing in the fourth quarter, but they surprised me. I'll take it. A win's a win, whether it's ugly, whether it's pretty, but you better get their stuff straight because they got to go up against the future Hall of Famer on Thursday.
Yep. Short week.
And it ain't getting any easier after that either.
Short week down in Tampa, then
Off to
New
New
Orleans
Orleans.
after that, both primetime games.
Yep. It's Thursday night, then a Monday night.
So the world could either see us rebound or the world could see us choke.
See us fall on our yep.
And it's all out of our hands.
We can fly or we can fly or fall.
Yep. Let's start with our first game on the docket. Dak is back and his Cowboys are back in the win column.
I'm happy to see Dak Prescott back. Let me tell you. You know, to finally to see him come back, and granted it was against the Lions, but the Lions have been a good team. Dak came back. He was Dak. It's like he never missed a beat. 19 for 25, 207 yards, 1 touchdown. Yeah, he took 2 sacks, but that's not his fault. That's the line. But it was almost like he never missed a beat. What I was happy about, they finally gave Tony Pollard the football. 12 carries, 83 yards. They're finally using Pollard. But I mean, what can you say? 24-6 blowout win.
Well, I mean, it looked rough in the beginning. Dak didn't really miss too many beats, but you could tell he kind of had some rust to shake off in the beginning of the game, which that's to be expected. You miss 5 weeks or whatever.
True.
But yeah, we came out and I feel like we started slow, and it was kind of like, like is this going to be one of those games where we come in and we're very confident and then we blow it? But in the second half, the defense stepped up, offense came out and played well. The game was like a little bit closer than the score seemed. We had 330 total yards. They had 312. We both had like 5.5 yards per play. We were both 3 for 9 on third down. So I mean, it was ugly at times. We had 59 total plays to their 56. But once again, a big shout out goes to this defense. We forced 5 turnovers, got 5 sacks. It's real easy to win a game when your defense is doing things like that. I've been very critical of DeMarcus Lawrence over the years, but his play on the goal line he got past the offensive lineman, broke through blocks on the fullback, and was able to hit Jamal Williams to force a fumble. He never fumbles. 3rd career fumble. Yesterday, Sunday was the first one he's ever lost in his career. I think it was some ugly football, but some good football at the same time. Hendershot got his first career touchdown on National Tight End Day, so that was cool. I feel like we got kind of lucky. I don't know if you want to call it luck, but DeAndre Swift was hurt. He wasn't able to play. Then St. Brown got the concussion. He got knocked out. Yeah, I feel like it just really leans on. We didn't really ask Dak to do too much on his first game back, which I was hoping that we would do. We would learn from Cooper Rush doing so well. Just going out there and don't lose the game for us. Just go out there and play good. We're not going to really cap on what you're doing, but don't try to do too much. At the end of the day, I think Dan Quinn deserves a lot more praise than he gets. Last year, this defense was causing a turnover or 2 turnovers, whatever, every game. Now it's, we're generating a lot of sacks. We're getting a lot of third down stops. And in my opinion, call me biased, but I think we have the best defense in the league right now. We're leading the league with 29 sacks, and we're only allowing 14.9 points per game.
Right.
Yep.
So if you can come in and you can score more than 2 touchdowns on us, have at it. But not too many teams are able to do it right now.
Now, let me ask you a question, Durp. Do you think that slow play Do you think that would have been the game plan even if Dak wasn't coming back, or do you think they did that because they didn't want to put too much on him with his first game back?
I think that would have probably been the plan no matter what. Like I said, I think the plan probably switched once Swift wasn't playing, and then once St. Brown went out, we kind of knew that our defense would be able to take care of Jared Goff and them for the most part. I don't think that we would have asked if Cooper Rush or Dak, to go out there and throw 40, 50 passes. I don't think that would have ever been in the game plan. And like you said, we're finally using Tony Pollard. Zeke is looking very good this year. He's not looking like, offensive rookie of the, or, offensive
Player of the year.
Yeah, the rushing leader or anything like that. He's not looking that well, but he is putting up numbers. He's very good on the goal line. I think, like you said, I'm happy that we're finally utilizing this rushing game.
All right, sticking in the NFC East, the Commanders, they shocked everyone when they beat the Packers at FedEx Field. Green Bay is now 3-4.
Green Bay's struggling. I mean, what more do you want to say? I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he can't do it all. Okay, he can't play defense and play offense. Okay, and when you put up 21 points against the Commanders, you're thinking, I mean, what more else can you do? You put up 21 points against a team that really didn't have that great of a home record. You're going in there, you're the favorite. I don't know. This team it looks like they're 3-4, so it's not like they've got a bad record, but they just don't look like.
Definitely don't look the same.
Yeah, they don't look like the same Green Bay Packers. I can't put my finger on it. I mean, because you got Alan Lazard, he had 6 receptions, 55 yards. You had Aaron Jones, 9 receptions for 53 yards. I mean, even Sammy Watkins got into the game. But it's like it's all the turnovers, the fumbles. It's almost like they don't even know they're in playbook.
A lot of dink and dunk too.
Right, and it's a lot of West Coast. And Rodgers is not a West Coast offense guy. He likes to take the shots downfield. He likes the big chunk plays. And then on the other side, you got Taylor Heineke that played like freaking Tom Brady. I mean, it's like, where the hell did that come from? So I don't know. It's just a weird season, especially for your top teams like this.
I feel like you said, this is a weird season. The Rams are playing like shit. The Bucks are playing like shit. The Packers are playing like shit. You're not used to it. And
Definitely.
I was thinking earlier today, and I think one of the reasons for it is for real. Like when you go up and you play the Packers or you play the Bucks, as wild as it sounds, you're not scared to play them.
Yeah.
You're not scared to play Aaron Rodgers with no name receivers. You're not scared to play a Tom Brady team who, once he gets sacked twice, he's screaming at his offensive line on national TV. Like, you look over at that and you say, okay, he's not superhuman. He believes just like we do.
Yeah.
And the Packers had 232 total yards. That's it. The Commanders had 364. And you're like, okay, that's not really that crazy. But the Commanders had 4 times the rushing yards than the Packers had.
Yeah.
The Packers were 0 for 6 on 3rd down and 0 for 1 on 4th. Not one conversion all day.
Damn.
Exactly. The Commanders had 72 total plays to the Packers 47. Now, out of all those plays, 47 plays, Aaron Jones had 8 carries and A.J. Dillon had 4. You got one of the best running back duos in the league, and you're going to give them 12 carries?
Yep.
12 carries to 35 passes. I understand you have Aaron Rodgers under center, but it's not like this game was a blowout. Y'all could have leaned on the running game. You could have tried something different.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like the Commanders came in and, like I said, they weren't scared and they had a good game plan. Brian Robinson had 20 carries, Antonio Gibson had 10. They finally figured out that Taylor Heineke is better than Carson Wentz, and the team plays better. Especially that Taylor Heineke to Terry McLaurin connection is really good. We've seen that.
Great pass.
And I was at my friend's house, and he's a Commanders fan, and we were sitting on his couch watching it. And they put a thing on the bottom of the screen at one point. At one point, Aaron Rodgers had 15 pass attempts. One of those was to a receiver.
Damn.
So he was literally just dumping it off to Aaron Jones. One of the passes was to Robert Tunyon, and it's like every week, I feel like every week we get on here, or I watch NFL Network, and they're like, somebody's gonna step up. Nobody's stepping up at this point. Nobody's stepping up, and the trade deadline is coming quick. And if I was the Packers, I would be like, all right, look, we gotta take our losses. We gotta admit we were wrong on this one.
Exactly.
Alan Lazard isn't our, he's a good football player, but he is not the number one guy. So we got to go out here and we got to get somebody. They need to see if like a Brandon Cooks is available. Even though he's up there in years, he's still able to do what he's able to do. They need to call somebody, Ghostbusters. I don't know who they need to call, but they got to get a hold of somebody and get some receivers on this team, because they keep losing and the Vikings keep winning. Shout out to Nick. And
I know, right?
They're gonna end up squandering this year away, because that, like I said, the Vikings
one bad decision.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, San Fran, they entered Sunday's game with the number one ranked defense, but they hadn't met Mr. Mahomes, Mr. Kelsey, and a bunch of other guys on the KC roster. Final score, Kansas City 44, San Fran 23. Kevin?
Yeah, Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes let people know why, they're probably one of the best, if not the best team in the AFC. Mahomes just went off. I mean, 25 for 34, 423 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 sack. It was like Kansas City was playing chess and San Francisco was playing checkers. I mean, don't get me wrong, my boy Jimmy G did pretty good. He won 25-37, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then they brought in Brock Purdy. Never even heard of this guy. Didn't even know he was on the roster. This dude goes off 4 for 9 for 66 yards and an interception. But I mean, if you look at the tail of the tape, if you look at that, it was like the numbers are closer than what the score indicates, because the Kansas City had 24 first downs, San Francisco 25. Kansas City, now where you get into the discrepancies. Okay, Kansas City won the game. Kansas City had 58 total plays. San Francisco scored 23 points. They had 72 total plays. Total yards. Kansas City with their 58 plays, 529 yards. San Francisco with their 72 plays, 444 yards. And then San Francisco only had one more drive than Kansas City. Kansas City had I was averaging 9.1 yards per drive to San Francisco's 6.2 yards per drive. That's what shows you got a Hall of Fame quarterback compared to somebody I think that's just going through the motions because he wants a new contract. But that's just me. How about you, Durp? What you got for this?
Well, you stole like half the shit I was gonna say. But
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, the Chiefs. That's the first thing that I noticed when I was looking at this. The Chiefs averaging 9.1 yards a play is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's like basically every time we snap the ball, we're gonna get a first down. Like it's impossible to stop that. And like you said, I think that this was just the 49ers were unlucky enough to run into the Chiefs on this day.
Yeah,
they finally used McCole Hardman. He was everywhere. And I was talking to Mike, because Mike is a big McCole Hardman fan. And I noticed that early on in these games, the Chiefs like to play like mind games, because they'll fake it to McCole Hardman like 3-4 times or whatever. And then all of a sudden they'll give it to him. Then they'll fake it to him. Then they'll give it to him. And he was going off on this game. It seems like every time I looked up, he was scoring. There was flags galore in this game. 18 total. Both teams had over 80 penalty yards.
Damn.
So yeah.
Wow.
But like Kevin said, the 49ers still had 444 total yards, which is very good. But I mean, if you have 444 total yards and only 23 points, it doesn't really, that tends to get forgotten, and there's a reason for it. Everybody was so worried about Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins, and it seems like without Tyreek Hill being there, now instead of being like, okay, we have to stop Tyreek, we got to stop Kelsey, now you got to stop Hardman, you got to stop Kelsey, you got to stop Edwards-Helaire, you got to stop McKinnon, you got to stop the rookie running back. Like, and you don't really know who to cue on and who to key on. And at the end of the day, they got one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback, throwing the ball. So, no, I just feel like the 49ers, they played well, but just not, as godly as the Chiefs played. The
Yeah.
49ers defense is still legit. They're just banged up. I feel like there's still no slouch. I think they're only one game back in their division behind the Seahawks, which is crazy. But as far as their offense goes, they only let Debo touch the ball 6 times. And you got somebody as dynamic as him, he's got to touch the ball way more than 6 times. And CMC, once he learns this offense, they'll be more on track as long as Jimmy G can keep them afloat. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard, but the Chiefs are going to be losing Frank Clark for 2 games. Did you guys see this?
Suspended.
Yeah, for the he violated the league's
Ouch.
personal conduct policy for a case that was stemming back in September. So they're going to lose him for, they're saying at least 2 games, if not longer.
They still got a big Chris Jones up there in the middle though, so that guy's a force to be reckoned with for sure. But yeah, Smitty, remember we was texting in the group text. He's not a happy camper, especially in that fourth quarter, man. Kansas City just did their thing for sure. They're rare form right now.
Yeah.
All right, Maryland football is in full swing, and that means it's time for touchdown Terps. Kevin, do your thing.
Well, with Talia hurt, no news on the extent of his injury, as he was carted off the field last Saturday, the Northwestern Bobcats pretty much gave the Terps all they could handle this past Saturday. But in the end, backup Billy Edwards Jr. And Maryland emerged victorious 31-24. The Terps went on what seemed to be the turnaround as the Terps 14-0 run in the third quarter. That was the difference maker in the game. Now, with this victory, the Terps are now officially bowl eligible. To what bowl we'll see at the end of the season, when their overall record remains. But no game this week, as the Terps have a well-deserved bye week. If there's any news on or updates on Talia's injuries, I will have that for you next week. If not, there will be no touchdown Terps.
Sounds good. So back to the NFL. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, they were held to only 3 points in Carolina. Tampa Bay has now lost 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah, I think this goes back to the same thing we were talking about with Aaron Rodgers. Brady, even though he's Tom Brady, the GOAT, blah, 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 the man had 49 pass attempts on the day to 14 rushing attempts on the day. It's like these teams are like, hey, man, we don't really know what to do with the offense. Let's just pass it all over let's just throw it all over and hope for the best. That dropped Mike Evans' touchdown.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of, what was it, week 1 when Aaron Rodgers threw to Christian Watson and he dropped that and then
exactly
never catch back on. That's exactly what that reminded me of. Even Mike Evans said, that early in the game, it doesn't really change too much, but it changes a lot. If that makes sense. He catches that, they go up. The momentum's on their side, and who knows what would have happened. This team is desperately missing Gronk. They need to ask Tom Brady, pretty please, to get him on the phone and get him up here, because whether it be in the passing game and the short and intermediate passes, the running game, all of it, they're missing him. And as far as the Panthers go, shout out to PJ Walker, 16 for 22 for 2 touchdowns. He played very well. Even after the Panthers trading away CMC, Foreman, and Hubbard, they had 24 attempts combined for 181 yards and a touchdown. They finally started using DJ Moore. Shout out Maryland. That man has been held hostage for years now down on the Panthers. They're finally using him. He's one of my favorite receivers in the league. This game had 13 total punts, 6 from the Bucs, 7 from the Panthers, no turnovers. I feel like Byron Leftwich is a lot like Kellen Moore on the Cowboys. I feel like he's getting figured out, and he doesn't really know what
Yep.
to do. Teams are dropping back and disguising their coverage or whatever it may be, or coming out and recognizing what they're trying to do and just taking it away. And it seems like, much like Kellen Moore, when his game plan doesn't go right, he doesn't change it or doesn't know how to change it. And a big reason that the Bucks aren't as dominant as they have been is because their defense isn't as dominant as it has been. They're kind of getting walked all over. 21 points by the Panthers will show that. I just feel like this team isn't nearly as good as they have been, and teams aren't afraid to play them, whether it be Tampa Bay, them coming to them, and they don't really know how to handle it, it seems. I mean, they have Tom Brady, so we like to say they'll get it figured out, but we will see.
Hey, real quick, Baltimore has an offensive coordinator that falls in that category too.
Yes, we do.
I don't know if you knew
Oh,
that
yeah.
or not, Dirk. Go ahead, Kevin.
Brady to me just seems like he's not himself anymore. If you look at him, he seems old. He seems distracted. And yeah, he's got a lot going on the field. He's got a lot going off the field with the divorce with Giselle. But like Dirk was saying, the aura is not there anymore. I mean, a lot of times when it was Brady Belichick and you were going up in New England, a lot of it was mental. And a lot of teams had themselves a nervous wreck before the game even started. Now it's like teams aren't, like Dirk said, teams aren't scared.
Yep.
So yeah, it's still Tom Brady on there, but they're walking like, we got this. We can beat him. He's human. Where when he was in New England, it was like he was untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
And he just doesn't seem like, I mean, granted, he went 32 for 49, 290 yards, 5.9 yards attempt. I'm not snuffing at that because that's decent for any quarterback, but that's not Tom Brady numbers. That's not what we're used to. And yeah, I understand that the defense isn't the defense, but there's been years past when there's New England defenses where the teams will put 21 up when Brady's like, yeah, okay. We'll spot you at 21. Now it's time for me to go to work and turn around and put up 30, 40 points in like a blink of an eye. He just, that's not just him. I think he's distracted. I don't think he has the love of the game anymore. I honestly, and I would not be surprised if he doesn't quit or retire before the season's over.
Oh,
It wouldn't surprise me one bit because he just doesn't look like he wants to be there.
yeah.
It's almost like he's going through the motions at this point because he signed the contract. And I could be 100% totally wrong. I'm just going by what I see.
I don't think he'll go out like that, but
Yeah, I don't think Brady would go out like that, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he hangs it up after this year.
Definitely.
Because yeah, he should have rode off into the sunset, no doubt. But
Yep.
especially with the way it's looking like this year, for sure.
All right. Well, we're halfway through the show. Just in time for halftime headlines with Brandon. What you got for us, Brandon?
All right, everyone. James Robinson, he's now a member of the New York Jets. The veteran running back started his career with the Jaguars before New York made a trade for him earlier this week. New York lost rookie running back Breece Hall for the season on Sunday. Derp's Cowboys, they've added some beef to their defensive line. Dallas traded for Raiders defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins on Tuesday. Hankins spent some time with the Giants, Colts, and Raiders in his 10 seasons in the league. The Colts, they are turning to yet another person at the quarterback position. Sam Ellinger will get the start on Sunday when the team hosts the Commanders. Head coach Frank Reich says that Ellinger will start for the remainder of the season. Heading out west, Seattle, they're leading the NFC West after a big win in Los Angeles.
Yeah, in this game, I picked them to win in our picks just because I felt like these are two teams that are on two different paths right now. The Seahawks are overachieving every week, and the Chargers they want to be that team that we thought they were going to be, but these injuries are just catching up with them left and right, and they just don't really know how to handle it. I thought that they had the depth to be able to keep doing it, and I feel like they were able to stay afloat for as long as they were. They're only one game behind the Chiefs, but I mean, as far as total yards go, Seattle 404, Chargers 329. The passing yards, Seattle only had 190 to the Chargers 276, but where it really gets you is Seattle had 214 rushing yards to the Chargers 53. Let me say that again, to the Chargers 53. You you have Austin Eckler. You know, he had like 9 catches for 98 yards, but at this point, he's kind of looking like kind of how the Saints treat Alvin Kamara. Like he's a running back. Like let the man run the ball, you know. And third down, Seattle's 5 for 9, Chargers were 5 for 15. Geno still doing his thing. The Seahawks did what they do. They came out and ran the ball. Kenneth Walker, 23 attempts, 168 yards, averaged over 7 yards, 2 touchdowns. This game was a resurgence of Marquise Goodwin. He went for 2 touchdowns. Seattle had 7 pass catchers. I just feel like they outplayed the Chargers, and when they needed players to step up, they did step up. Much like the Bucs game and the Packers game, Herbert had 51 attempts, but they ran the ball 12 times. So I don't know why I know it's a quarterback-driven league, but we don't got to go out here and throw it 1,000 times and only try to rush it 10. DK got hurt, Mike Williams got hurt, J.C. Jackson got hurt. So there's a lot of players that were banged up in this game. And overall, like I said, I feel like the Seahawks just came out and played a really solid game, and the Chargers came out and kind of shit a brick. They just hit a wall at some point and couldn't come back from it. And it seemed like every time when I was watching Red Zone, every time the game would jump to it, the Chargers would do something good, and then the Seahawks would do something good, and then they would go back and forth for a little while. The Chargers would go stagnant, and the Seahawks would just keep going. So I feel like it was just they overachieved.
It's crazy. Now let me ask you a question. If I would have told you in the offseason the Seahawks were gonna trade away Russell Wilson and they were gonna go with Geno Smith and still end up being in first place, 1 game over 500, you all would have told me I was absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
I had them winning 3 games this year.
Right now,
He got the exact number too.
right now the Seahawks are 4-3. The Rams are 3-3, and the 49ers and the Cardinals are both 3-4. The Seahawks get rid of Russell Wilson and are leading their division.
Crazy.
Now, I don't know if that means everybody else is just sucking and it's a mediocre division, or if it ended up being addition or subtraction and Geno Smith showed exactly what he could do.
A little bit of both.
Probably a little bit of both. This was not a Seahawks team I was expecting. And I was on the Justin Herbert bandwagon. I thought for sure this was the year Los Angeles was going to go all the way. And my boys 4-3, but man, I don't know if the Chargers are a good 4-3 Chargers or if they're a smoke and mirror 43 Chargers, because it's like you see 2 different teams each week.
Absolutely. Big game for the Seahawks on Sunday. They'll head back to the Pacific Northwest. They'll host the New York Giants there on Sunday afternoon. In the meantime, there's a lot going on in Blacksburg on the gridiron. Durp's ready for the hokey pokey. What's up, my brother?
All right. After losing to the Miami Hurricanes 20-14, it wasn't nearly as close as the score suggests. On the 8th, the Hokies come fresh off a bye week to travel to the 5-2 NC State team that's reeling after a loss to the 16th ranked Syracuse. This will mark the 51st time that we play NC State, with Virginia Tech leading the rivalry with 28 wins. The Wolfpack sits at 4-0 at home this season, and they have a subpar passing attack led by junior quarterback Devin Leary, who ranks 62nd with only 11 touchdowns this season. But he's completing over 60% of his passes. Their running backs are formidable, with a combined total of almost 1,000 yards on the season. And it seems that their defense may be more the reason for their 5-2 record, as they have 11 interceptions on the season already and a linebacking trio with close to over 150 tackles between them. I look for a tough game in North Carolina, and I hope to see a fight and a fresh Hokies team with something to prove.
In case you missed it, everyone, it was a quite busy week around the NFL in week 7. The Bengals crushed the Falcons 35-17. Titans beat the Colts 19-10. Giants, they stopped the Jags on the final play to win 23-17. Gus Edwards made his Ravens return and powered Baltimore to a 23-20 win over the Browns. 16-9, that was the final score of the Jets win against the Broncos. Raiders, they easily handled the Texans 38-20. Thursday Night Football featured the Cardinals and the Saints, And the Cardinals won their first home game in 8 tries, 42-34. Miami, they edged out the Dolphins on Sunday Night Football, 16-10. And Kevin's Bears, they stopped Bill Belichick from advancing to number 2 on the all-time wins list for a coach. Chicago won 33-14. Quick look ahead to week 8, everyone. My Ravens are in Tampa for a Thursday Night Football matchup with the Buccaneers. London football will return. This time the Broncos and the Jags will battle it out. Panthers at Falcons, Bears versus Durp's Cowboys, Dolphins at Lions, Cardinals at Vikings, Raiders at Saints, Patriots at Jets in the AFC East. Steelers will head east to take on the Eagles there in Pennsylvania. Titans at Texans. Colts will host the Commanders with a new quarterback. 49ers at Rams, Giants at Seahawks. Green Bay will travel to Buffalo for Sunday Night Football, and Bengals at Browns, AFC North Classic showdown on Monday Night Football. Bold prediction, guys. What's the shocker for the upcoming weekend and a game or two that you'll have an eye on this coming week?
Well, let's see. A game I'm going to have an eye on. Actually, give me a couple. You got my Ravens. They're on Thursday Night Football against the Bucks. But I'm interested in seeing it's a 49ers Rams matchup. And I'm interested in seeing if Green Bay can bounce back against Buffalo on Sunday Night Football. That's going to be an interesting situation there. And the Steelers, can they give the Eagles their first loss?
True.
And that's actually going to be my shocker and my bold prediction. I think the Steelers go up into are they playing that? They're playing that in Philadelphia, right? At the link.
Yeah, it'll be at the link.
Yeah, I think the Steelers going to the link. I think I think final score 34-21 Steelers.
With the rookie.
With the rookie, yep.
Mm.
I think Kenny Pickett goes up there and he hands the Eagles their first loss of the season.
I like Kenny, but I don't know about 34.
Well, you said you went bold, right?
Yeah.
I'm giving you bold.
You're right.
As far as games I'm looking forward to, for me, like you said, the 49ers at the Rams, because both teams are reeling right now. Somebody's got to catch up. Or as crazy as it seems, the Seattle Seahawks will run away with this division. The Rams get Vance Jefferson back. I feel like that'll help their offense. But there's something about these 49ers. The Rams cannot figure it out. Yep. So we'll see what's going on with that and see if, the Jimmy G can handle some pressure in his face, because that's what the Rams like to do. Another game I'm looking forward to is the Cardinals at the Vikings. The Cardinals coming off that big victory, and the Vikings coming off their bye week. I feel like they're two teams that are headed up. Vikings more than the Cardinals, but I feel like it could be a shootout there. It could be a good game. And as far as my bold prediction, I think that every single game this week hits the over.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very.
Very interesting. Well, let's hope it's in the Ravens' favor for the over.
I was just going to that game, especially with Tampa Bay only putting a 3 last week.
Yep.
Guys, another show is in the books, and we're almost halfway through the season. Big football weekend ahead. Buckle up, everyone.